Thank you, and welcome back to our WYW Women Special. We are just diving into all the amazing women that we can think of, at least the amazing women that I have in my life, and really trying to figure out what everyone's why is and how we got to our why. Because at the end of the day, I think that's sometimes the most important thing that we should be figuring out is what's our why. Before we try to take that journey somewhere else, try to figure out our purpose, what's our why? So I would love to introduce my lovely, beautiful spirit, beautiful individual, model, musician, singer, poet, just magical being, Lauren. Thank you for doing this and taking the time out to speak to us. Fill us in, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I am so honored to be a part of this conversation and talking about my why. I feel like I've had such a long journey. It feels like I feel like an elderly woman from the experiences that I've had, but like this is truly an honor just to even share my story and hopefully like encourage others to just, find their why. And no matter what time and space you find it, know that it's never too late to pursue that why.
Definitely.
So I am, as you mentioned, a singer, model, actor at this point, poet for sure. I love poetry. I don't know there's so many other things I do now. And now I'm an entrepreneur. But yeah, and I would just say an entertainer in the nutshell.
Quick plug, she does candles. Baby. Them joints smell scrumptious. House of Noram. Please, when all is said and done, y'all gonna have to check that out because it's gonna have your house, your office, wherever you decide to put that candle smelling like you're supposed to be there and supposed to be there for a long time. So
thank you so much.
Thank you. Kind of diving into the conversation, the biggest thing that we've been talking about a lot lately is the concept of the company itself. What's your why? So can you give me a glimpse into what your original why was when you started on this journey that you would call, I guess, your career / life?
I feel like my why has always been my dreams. So that's where like the base of my why is just having a dream. I've always had this vision of performing, and just as shy and introverted as I was, as you've experienced, like way back in the day, I was so sheltered in this vision of what I always wished I could be, which was like a singer, a songwriter, performing. Modeling wasn't always in the original plan, but it was synonymous to everything else I wanted to do, and it was a way to get to my why. So it's like I fell into things that just fit the vision of the why, which was the dream and my hopes and ambitions, and seeing examples of Black women being excellent in performing arts, and just seeing myself as like I could potentially be there one day. So that's where it all started. And then we can go into, of course, culturally, like the women that raised me, that encouraged me, that loved on me, that kind of nurtured my why, really is the backbone and the motivation to why I pursued this vision and this dream, because they made me feel like I was totally capable of accomplishing these things with no question. So without that foundation and that support, I don't think I'd be able to really light the fire to pursue the why without having that support to say, you know what, you can do this.
Yeah. There's just the thought and the concept of that support system, and how important that support system truly is. Because yes, the mental support, the emotional support, the physical support, all those things play a role. But especially when we're talking about figuring out our why, for me, it feels like that support system gives you the freedom to figure out your why. It's kind of like they're, in a sense, a type of shield from the outside stuff that's trying to get to you, that's trying to stop you, that's trying to tell you that you can't. And as all those things are coming in, that support system is filtering out the foolishness. And like, no. You can do this. You got this. Everything that you need, you have inside of you already to do what you want to do. And that support system in just the journey of understanding your why and your purpose. That I'm so happy you brought that up. Kind of diving into the concept of the support system. How would you say your why has changed and matured over time? And would you say that you have found yourself in the support system role now that you've experienced what that support feels like?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like, that's such a loaded question. There's so many things I want to unpack in all of the things that you said. Yeah. I don't know where to start. All right. So I'm going to answer the last one first. And I want to say absolutely. And I feel like that's, as I've been developing my personal brand and developing, the candle line, it is definitely inspired by my ancestors, but also the women in my family, again, who have just been so loving in my entire journey. And I feel obligated to pay it forward, to be as loving to women who are either biological or non-biological, to really be like, you know what? Whatever, whether it's you're pursuing something, going through a transition, whatever the life event that's happening. Yeah, I want to be able to be of a support where you feel like you can make it through either this, endeavor or challenge with that love and support, to know that, okay, like Lauren said, I got this, so I know I got this. So I feel like I've had that support, and my why has changed so many times. There were times where I felt stagnant in every lane I've been involved in, but having that support, especially from my mother said something to me that I thought was so sweet. She was like, Lauren, I don't care if your music busts when you're 40 years old. If that's what you want to pursue, you go out and do it. And I felt like that from a Caribbean mom. You don't hear that ever. So I'm like, yo, that was, I reflect on that. She said it maybe like 2 years ago. And like reflecting on that, and I'm like, yo, that is so sweet of her to say, because that is not typical of a West Indian parent and the expectations of what they have for you in your careers. So, like, she has always been super supportive in my creative ambitions. She was always like, Lauren, if you want to act, go to acting school. If you want to go to Berkeley, let's go to Berkeley, and you're not leaving once you get in that school. Like, it was very still disciplined and like hardcore, but it was like, she saw the potential and she encouraged me through it. Yeah. She didn't force it. If the day I'm like, yo, I don't want to do this, she's like, cool, you don't have to do this anymore. But like, anything that I've been passionate about and good at, she's like, okay. And I'm like, Jamaican mom, are you just saying that because I'm your child? She's like, no. Bruh. Me. If you were not good at this and the candles smelled disgusting, I'm like, Lauren, this is not it. But she's like,
you don't have to tell you.
Exactly. So I'm like, I'm so gracious that I have a mother that has that level of softness when it comes to my dreams. Because not everybody in my family was like, yes, Lauren, pursue music. Yes, Lauren, no. I have very like level-headed, realistic people who are like, after modeling's done, what's next? Are you still gonna do music? What's after that? And my mom's like, she's grown. Why are you worried about her? You know what I mean? So it's just like, to have that support means everything. And like, even outside of my mother and, just socially, my friend group, I've had so many loving people who have rooted for me musically that like, it fills me so deeply to know that like people rock with me for real, in a real way, and people don't have that type of support. So like that's something that I never ever take for granted, because like that level of love and support and encouragement can really fuel you to do things you never thought you can do. I have chills saying that. Like it propels you in a way that you become fearless.
Yeah.
And you start to acknowledge the gifts that you have and your purpose. Because if you didn't have that level of support, if it wasn't within your reach, within your path, you wouldn't have that level of support. And it doesn't always come for everyone. People have to fight to get this type of acknowledgement often. So the fact that I've had it at such a young age, it makes me feel so secure in my purpose in the realm of like music and performing. So I definitely say I owe so much of my motivation to the people who have loved on me. And I feel like it's so important for me in everything that I do to encourage others to know that, like, okay, if you need me, I'm here.
And because I can honestly say
how scared I can be.
That is, and just speaking from personal experience, that's definitely been a true experience of mine with you. So super grateful for all the love that you pour into me, others, the people surrounding you. It's genuine, and genuine love and genuine support, as you were saying, you don't really get that often. But I do want to ask, how much do you think that level of support impacted your ability to really venture out in all of the things that you see yourself in creatively? Because you wear multiple hats.
Yeah.
You do many things. You're a true creative. And it'd be foolish, at least of me, to try to pin you down to one piece of your creativity, knowing that is something that just exudes out of your pores. So how much do you feel that the support system impacted your ability to just touch everything and do the things that bring your heart joy?
It has a very large impact. I will never downplay it. But there is a small percentage or piece of you that has to be fearless, that has to jump. So I could have all the love and support in the world, but if I didn't jump, I would not move. So I knew I had the support. I knew it was there, and it does help. But until I found that confidence within myself, nothing shifted. It's like, if I wanted the results, I had to really have faith in myself. It's like, you know what? Yes, you do have it. Because there is that point where you find yourself in the moments of self-doubt. You will find yourself there. And like, if you can have 100 people telling, like, you know what, you got this, you got it, like, you're everything, yes, slay, this sounds amazing. But like, if you don't believe that in yourself, that creates a downward spiral. So I definitely, but I don't want to downplay everyone that's been there for me, because I do distinctly like remember things and people and things that they said in times where I'm like, I have to pull from this to really give it all I have. For example, one of my really close friends, Ade, her mom is like my mentor. Not like my mentor, she is one of my mentors. And I remember I was 20 years old. No, not even 20 yet. We were graduating high school and I was leaving to go to college. And she pulled me to the side. I think it was like her daughter's like graduation party or something that we were at. And she pulled me to the side. She's like, you know what? You go out there and you go be fearless. You are beautiful. You are incredible. Like, gave me the most beautiful Black mom pep talk ever. Like, that was like years ago. I will never forget that. And that amount of like, she had so much conviction. It was like, I'm not gonna play with you. You have every right to go out and be great. Don't come back here on no BS. Go out there and be great. Period. I love you. Bye. Like it was so much conviction, but it was everything I needed. And I tell her whenever, like, I pull from that all the time. And I love you and I appreciate and I honor everything you've been to me and all the love that you just put into me and just sowed into me. Not even from another mom. Like, I'm not even your biological child, but you love me like this?
Yeah.
That's big. So
that
like I honor those relationships by making sure that I pay it forward. Definitely. If I see another Black girl that needs that, especially a Black woman, okay? If I see another Black queen that needs that encouragement, that needs a plug, if I know something about something that someone might be doing to that person, of course, I'm gonna hold it down for the queens, of course. Because I had so many Black women love on me, not even like on like a neutral plane. There were times where I was just not okay. Yeah. And I had people who were like, I'm here. You want to talk? We can talk. These are like my elders. And I'm like, really? Like about a boy problem? We could talk about it? And they're like, yes, let it out. Like this is normal. So because I've had these women love on me and invest time. Because Black women, we don't have time. So if you're gonna invest time to nurture me in my time of weakness, baby, when I get up, I have to make sure that I let people know it's because of you why I got through this.
That's the type of sisterhood that to me is unmatched. There's so many children out there. There's so many childhood experiences that kind of highlight what you're talking about. Like, there's something about the support, the love, the nurturing that we can impart on each other that is tangible. Like, it's like I've never seen physical love just exit somebody's body. But when you interact with us, it's just beautiful. And to know that you had those people in your life pouring that type of love into you, pouring that type of support. Because, we know, you know what we came out of.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I do want to dive just a tad bit deeper.
Yeah.
In the moments when it kind of felt like the world was a little bit louder than your inner voice, what were the words that you said to yourself to just stay afloat? Not even, to accelerate and to make it to the moon, but just to make it through that day.
A lot of times I have to cry it out. A lot of times. Yes. And that's like my initial reaction. If it's like that type of, mental oppression, I gotta cry it out first. Then while I'm crying, I'm gonna breathe because life gets heavy and you need to breathe. And I think I do pray out loud. And even if it's a situation where, like, for example, like I had a friend pass away in July, and it was hard for me and like our entire friend group, entire alumni. It was tough. So I was like, why? I'm like, God, like, why? Like, really? Why him? Really? So I think asking questions out loud and then knowing that God's will is where I kind of leave it at, period. Because I can't control everything. I can't control anything. So like, I have to be like, all right, God, all right, I trust you. And that's all I got. That's all I got. Because I feel like, again, we all have this destiny. We all have this purpose. And a lot of things are out of our hands. And I had to learn to surrender to things. Like I had to, for my own sanity.
Yeah.
So, and
of course,
until you surrender and know that you are protected and you are taken care of, you'll be okay.
I'm getting.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. It just, when you said surrender, it just made me feel like surrender to your purpose. You don't really know what your purpose, that journey is going to look like. You don't really know where your why is going to take you. Because I honestly feel like our whys take us certain places so that we have to pay very, very close attention to our whys to make it through those moments. Exactly. Like I feel like it brings you into those holes where it's like you have to look me dead in the eye the entire time, or else the second you lose focus on your why is the second you realize that you're in this hole.
Yeah, I could speak about that like recently. All right, God is a comedian because he's like, you know what, we gonna talk about it since we're here.
What's that?
I have walked away from music so many times. I have walked away from music so many times. And I convinced myself a year ago that I was not going to do music anymore. I convinced myself, I was like, you know what? It played, everything has its place in your life. This is a chapter that you have to close. It was good. It doesn't mean it's out your life. It's hang it up, sweetheart. And I convinced myself that that was it. No way. God was like, you funny. I'm gonna let you talk. I'm gonna let you talk your shit. But I'm not done with you. So you can talk and walk away from it, but this is actually a part of your destiny. So you can play and act like this is not what you're supposed to do, but it's gonna find you again like the other 10 times we were in this space where you wanted to walk away. And I've come to the point that it's not just a therapeutic thing. Like I was trying to like substitute it as like, maybe we can just spin this off as like a therapeutic thing where it's just for me and like I'll just like sing gospel at home or like, you know, do my thing. He's like, no. You've been through a lot of things. Woo! You need to help people through. So if you think you're gonna keep this quiet and not share what I took you through,
girl,
and took you from, you're bugging. So when you're ready to surrender to your gift that I gave to you, and I put this purpose in your heart from you were little for a reason. So when you're ready to get back and write your testimony in songs in whatever form that you feel suitable, then so that's where I'm at now. It's just like I can't run from what is meant for me.
Girl, listen here.
I can't. So, God, I'm sorry for being a bird because I wasn't listening. But I get it. I totally get it now. And I was actually thinking about this. If we want to get into this whole spiritual thing, let's get into it. Today I was thinking about like this whole conversation and the whys, and I'm reflecting on things that happened in high school. And I wanted to be more transparent on social media about like my journey, but like I'm a Scorpio, so I'm like, ew, girl, we don't share too much private information. Like, ew, we don't do that. Like,
you don't know me.
Exactly. But again, this is the fight I've been going through because I'm like, no, people need to know and feel inspired what you've been through rock bottom, but you don't want to talk about it because you have too much pride. It's an ego trip you're going through right now. But like, I need to surrender to the fact that someone is going to be inspired by my rock bottom. And I need to let go of the ego aspect of it. Like you're good, so nobody cares about where you fell from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Is the lesson is the bigger story. Either way, I'm going sidetrack.
Oh, you are on point, baby.
So in high school, I was in ragtime, and it was my first like lead in anything that huge of a production for, our high school. And I had a friend named Danielle Abelson. And I don't know the short story about Danielle. Her mom, when she was born blind. And her mama said the Lord told her to do something specific so that the baby could see. She did it, and now our homegirl can see. All right.
Amen.
So her mom has always had this discernment, and God talks to her. I've heard the story from before this occurrence when she came to the musical. I love her mama. Her mom is such a sweet lady.
Yeah.
So her mom and her husband come up to me crying after opening night. And I'm like, I can sing, but I ain't singing down for people to be crying. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh my God, thanks for coming. And she was like, I have to tell you this. When you were singing, there was an angel on stage, and keep praying and allow God to keep showing you your gift. And I'm just like, I thought that was crazy that there were angels on stage. But again, this is Danielle Abelson's mom who helped her see when she was born blind. So who am I to tell her that the Lord didn't show us something when I was performing, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think about that a lot now, because it's just I ran from this on and off for the last 10 years, battling between the being a Black woman in the industry, especially in the music industry. It's very discouraging. It's very disheartening for a chocolate girl to pursue this. So it's just after going through one scenario to the other, just not seeing the fruits of my labor, it became very discouraging. So I was like, maybe this isn't it. Maybe there's something else. Maybe there's something other aspect of entertainment that I need to be involved in. But when it all comes down to it, music has always been my why. So who am I to abandon something that God has put in my heart since
Exactly.
I was a child?
Exactly.
So I didn't want to just bring it to a spiritual place, because I feel like even though that's my basis, I don't want to project those views onto other people who have traumas from the Black church. So I didn't want to be like, oh, well, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to make sure that this conversation was inspiring based on my experience, but I don't want to limit it to people who might have different beliefs.
Well, I will say this before we continue, especially for those who are going to be watching this. The goal with any conversation that is had is to give people the opportunity to share how their why was personally formulated. Not so much to tell somebody else that that's how your why should look. So being that your purpose, your journey, all of this encompasses your spirituality, encompasses the moments that you've experienced where it felt like God was directly trying to reach out to you. That's a part of your why.
Yeah.
And it might not be a part of the next person's why, but that's definitely a very organic and authentic part of your why. And it's honestly the only reason why you're sitting here today talking to me.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, and amen.
Yeah. So for those watching, this is not to try to convert anybody. This is not to try to make anyone feel like they have to be a part of something that they don't want to be a part of. This is to show people that everybody's journey looks different. And everybody's journey has a different level of communication happening, whether it be with people in your life, friends, family, ancestors, God. We don't know who's talking to who, when, how, and how it's going to sound. We just know that everybody's being spoken to, and God's talking to you. So amen.
Amen.
Cool.
Amen.
I
love this. What other? Wow. Do you have any other questions? I actually really enjoyed it.
I do have another question, and it's more so tapping into the singing side, because that is something that is a deep-seated part of who you are. When you felt like that part of your person wasn't coming to fruition, how did you manage your why at that moment?
I went through so many different emotions, because it's a tough thing to navigate when your dream feels like that's not your purpose anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I fought with so many different ideas for such a long time. It was like, well, maybe it is my purpose, and maybe it's not my purpose. And like, what I try to like have this basically take away from the unknown potential that I had.
Yeah.
Try to like formulate like my own realistic vision for what society made me feel was obtainable for a Black girl.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, hold on, tell me the question again, because I'm losing the
oh no, you're good. Just talking about how you, pretty much how you navigated and how you managed your why when you felt like your why was no longer your why. When you felt like singing was no longer your why, your purpose. How did you navigate? How'd you navigate that?
I just try to digest it. I try to figure out, okay, so I know where I was going with that. So I try to figure out what was obtainable for me. Yeah. So that would mean, okay, well, maybe I could just write for someone, or maybe I could do more corporate music industry, or, maybe I'll just do acting with the side of like some modeling still. Like, I was trying to figure out what other aspects of entertainment I can do outside of music, or how I was gonna make it fit in whatever capacity I could make it fit.
Yeah.
But it was more like, all right, well, I guess I can't do this, so I'll do this. Or like, I just try to minimize it as much as I could to keep myself going, because my heart was so broken. So it was just like, okay, well, if I can't do that, well, how do I hold on to this? Jeez. So it's been a very harsh season for myself to be like, damn, well, my entire life's work is going down the drain. My entire life's dreams I'm just gonna let go of. It was very difficult to try to accept that. But I was like, okay, well, you have to be realistic at this point. So what is it gonna be? So it was very hard to navigate through, and that's why I feel like it's so important to talk about, because again, even in these moments, I still thought about women who told me that, you know what, I was in your shoes and I stopped. Don't be me. Mm-hmm. So I remember talking to women who were beautiful singers. I remember thinking back at some of the faculty at school that were kind of disgruntled because they didn't make it to where they wanted to be. And I never wanted to have that bitterness in my heart. Yeah. So I'm like, damn, how can I make this work so I don't end up like the people that I experienced?
Yeah.
So it was more like a rude awakening in a way. Very much so. Because it's just like, okay, well, your life's dream is in your hands. It's up to you to either give it up and find another why, or find a minimized version of it, which didn't make me feel full.
Exactly.
All the other options didn't make me feel full. So it's just like, it was a tussle mentally. But again, like, what I think is so beautiful about life, certain things you can't run from.
No.
You cannot run from. And this just happens to be one of those things where just like opportunities will pop up. Hey, do you want to sing background? Like, no, but I'm not gonna say no.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't, but I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Because I got to.
Like, yeah. It's just, and then you think back and reflect, and life will just bring like supernatural occurrences that are beautiful opportunities that will show you that you were always in the right space at the right time. But it's up to you to really like believe in your gift and whatever your gift is. You have to believe in it. I'm like, whatever you believe in, I'm at the point now where I'm like, dang, if I would have just trusted the feeling I had, I would have been fine. Like, there's no way that me as a child could be so passionate about being a singer. Like tiny tot, like 4 or 5. It was like my secret love that no one knew about because I was super shy. I wasn't singing until I was 13. So it was like I would go to church and I would pray, I'm like, God, could you make me a singer? Because I think it would be great for us, for the both of us. Like I'm trying to negotiate with the Lord at 5 years old. Like, God, I know you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's no way that a little person like that can grow into an adult and still have that deep, sincere love. I romanticize the love that I have for music. And I was talking to a friend when I had a drunk night, and I'm just like, it was like a big aha moment. And he was like, musicians go through that. So the analogy I made is that sometimes as creatives, we seek relationships and these feelings in people and romanticize people when sometimes that feeling can only be filled by that gift.
Yes.
And I felt that. I'm like, dang, so like I'm romanticizing this feeling about like being in love, but that love can only be filled by music. And I'm just like, dang, I've been doing this wrong for a minute. Like, men don't do it for me like music does it. So I started writing a song. I was like having a conversation about like telling a guy, don't make me choose. And it sounds like I'm talking about another man, but I'm talking about music. Yeah.
We got to talk about this when this is done.
Yeah. But like these are the things that will fuel the creativity. These life events. And that's another thing. I'm super private. So I never want to talk about like publicly like my relationships and like my issues with a man and all. I'm so like, ew, like I got through that. That's behind me. But I'm like, no, people need to learn from that. Like honor your truth. Honor your truth.
Honor your truth. Because there's so many people out there that are experiencing the same thing and have no clue how to navigate it. And this is not to say that when we experience things that we just magically know how to navigate all of it. But sometimes we stumble into solutions that we don't even realize are solutions. Sometimes we stumble into spaces that are actually good for us because we're trying to do the work, even though we don't even know that we're doing it right.
Yeah.
And those stumbles we got to share with people. Because if we're stumbling into the solution, we could be like, hey, you could walk there. You could walk there 10 toes down.
And that's why I always like when women, especially my Black girls, come in my DMs about modeling, I'm an open book. Whatever they need to know, I got you. Whatever you need to like a photographer that looks creepy or something that you're not sure of, ask me. Because I didn't have, I had my cousin Camila, obviously, but like when you get into the industry, there's not, all your agents are not gonna give you the play-by-play. You know, and there's sometimes not all the Black girls want to share the gems because we're not as diverse as the industry as people make it seem. It's just not the truth. And we can go on about that at another day, another time. But that's
like a whole different episode.
You know what I mean? So when girls come in my DMs about modeling, I'm more than happy to, you know, be of any help because the industry does not love us. They love the culture. So it's just like, you need to have someone to advocate for you.
Yes.
And that's just kind of like how I see it as far as like, you know, just being available for Black women because they've pit us against each other for so long. For what? We're bomb.
Exactly. For nothing.
You know, so.
For nothing. I don't want to keep you for too long because we could really be chopping.
I
know. But I do want to ask if you can put to words an affirmation that you might use for yourself or that you would give to another young woman, young Black woman who is just trying to stay focused. Continue.
No, say what you're gonna say.
I was saying just someone trying to stay focused, trying to keep their eyes on their purpose and their why. What would you say?
Oh, I gotta think about them because I want to make it good. Because words are so powerful.
Yes.
And the right affirmation could change your life, honey. Let me tell you, I need to be better. I'm okay. Let me think about this. I am actively creating a life that is fulfilling my highest potential.
Actively creating a life that is fulfilling my highest potential. The way I'm finna say that in the mirror every day before I go to bed, every day when I wake up, because I'm gonna need the world, God, ancestors, and everybody on the same page that we are actively creating.
Yes.
Come on, God.
Yes.
Ooh, thank you. Can you say that for me one more time?
I am actively creating a life that is fulfilling my highest potential and my highest good.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you. I love you so much. I appreciate your space, your time, your energy, what you have to share.
Always, my love.
Just thank you. And in the journey that we're on, in the journey that I'm taking WyW, I really, really, really want to start uplifting and giving that support, creating that support system so that we all can keep our eyes on our individual whys and not have to keep our eyes on each other.
Yeah, and a genuine loving space. Yes. People don't see that enough, so they don't know what it looks like. You know, that's the big
people
thing.
Knew.
And
people
they get
knew
shocked.
What it feels like.
When God, yeah. People, they get shocked, and I'm like, I don't want to hurt you. And one of my biggest things I say, when you come from love, you know how to give love. My parents are so loving, so I know how to give love in a genuine way without. I don't need anything in return because I have it. I have an abundance of love to give because I have all of it.
Oh, amen. Thank you. You are a blessing, and I'm so excited to do more of these moments with you.
Yes, I miss you. You look beautiful. How's my baby?
Oh, girl, we gotta talk. Hold on, let me cut this.
Yeah, stop the recording.
Thanks again.
Thank you
for everybody watching. Please continue to tune in for our WyW series because the goal is to make it bigger and better every single time. So, signing out. Love you all.